Continuing our look at women depicted in early American genealogies, as shared in the 2018 New York Public Library article on why to read genealogy books. This is part 4A of 6 parts on why to read genealogies. And one answer is read them in order to delight in a host of American women's lives whose stories you may not see elsewhere. For instance, the New York Public Library article says business women such as Mrs. Hetty Vermilia Benton, who conducted a quite profitable millinery business in Hampton Falls, New Hampshire, is an example of the kind of person you can read about. And she's depicted in the book David Benton Jr. and Sarah Bingham, their ancestors and descendants, and other ancestral lines. On page 41, that book says, for a decade or more following their marriage, she conducted a millinery business for which she was well fitted by taste and tact. The business, which proved to be quite profitable, required for her assistance from time to time a succession of young women who aspired to an acquaintance with the vocation for like adventures of their own. Allusion to the subject brings with it a recollection of our mother as she sat with them, all busily employed, relating, as was her habit, some matter of interest drawn from reading or observation. We recall especially her reiterated recitals from a retentive memory, the sad, true story of the beautiful and accomplished Charlotte Temple, an English schoolgirl of good family, who was betrayed by a young British officer who brought her to America in the colony days and deserted her. How she found, after neglect and suffering, a home in a noble Christian family in New York, where she was cared for with parental tenderness until death from consumption at the age of 20, obliterated the memory of her wrongs. Christian burial was given her in Trinity Churchyard, where we have often gone out of regard for our mother's memory and visited the spot where a plain granite tablet bearing the inscription Charlotte Temple, 1774, marks the grave of the unfortunate young lady. And we have rarely, if ever, seen it when it lacked a floral wreath or offering, the tribute of some sympathetic heart like unto our mothers. The article goes on to give the example of lawyers, including Lillian Brock, who was admitted to the DC bar in 1907. She's depicted in the book The Family of Black Barrett Jr., pioneer and one of the first settlers of Uniondale, Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania. I'll add about Lillian Brock that her 1907 admission to the bar was a landmark event for the Washington College of Law because she was a part of the generation that proved the school's mission that women could indeed successfully enter the legal profession at the highest levels. She attended Washington College of Law during an era when the school was the only institution founded by women, specifically for women. Her admission to the bar served as a vital proof of concept for the founders' belief that women were mentally and professionally capable of legal practice. And she's among the early graduates of the school's first decade. And during this time, the curriculum was designed to be identical to the male-only law schools in order to ensure that the graduates could indeed pass the rigorous DC bar exam, which Brock did on October 10th, 1907. She served in the Bureau of Pensions and she served on the Women's Bar Association. She was an early member of that legal network. So going back to the New York Public Library article, it picks up with an example of St. Louis's first lawyer. She is mentioned in the book titled The Bergen Family, or The Descendants of Hans Hansen Bergen, one of the early settlers of New York and Brooklyn, Long Island. It says that beyond what it says in the New York Public Library article, I'll share that she died just months after passing the bar. Her name is adapted from an ancestral name, and as one of the first women in America to attend law school, she was indeed the first admitted to the Missouri bar and is documented as the first woman to try a case in an American court. She was born in 1840 in Brooklyn and graduated with honors from Moravian College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. She started the Washington University School of Law in 1869, and prior to completing her first year, she petitioned to take the Missouri bar without the law degree. And in March 1870, she did indeed pass the bar, and the next day she was sworn in as the first woman on to the Missouri bar. She started to practice with offices in the office of Lucian Eaton, and within her first few months, she tried the first case tried by a woman. And then she died of typhoid fever in September of 1870, just months later. And she's a niece of Tunis Bergen, a New York congressman. And for 25 years, Vassar alumna Susan Freelick Appleton has been the inaugural Lemma Barkaloo and Phoebe Cousins Professor of Law at the University of at the Washington University School of Law. And the inaugural appointee to that seat is still there, focusing on laws of family creation and dissolution, and doing so in such areas as adoption, assisted reproduction, gender and parentage, surrogacy, and abortion. We finish our look at women in the 19th and early 20th century American genealogies in the next segment, part for B.